Welcome to StoryTime, real-life drama. The story starts with a routine writing lesson shatters when a mother lashes out at the instructor for saving her son from danger. Weeks later, strange and escalating acts threaten the horses' lives, revealing a horrifying culprit hiding in plain sight. This is the story of how one warning turned into a nightmare. When you work with horses long enough, you learn that danger doesn't always come with teeth and hooves. Sometimes, it comes dressed in a cardigan, clutching a designer coffee cup, and refusing to believe their child could ever do wrong. I've worked at our local stable for years now. Saturday mornings are my favorite. They smell like fresh hay, leather saddles, and a new start. The soft knickers of the horses, the chatter of parents on benches, and the excited squeals of kids who've just met their first pony. It's the kind of chaos I love. Every new group of kids gets the same introduction from me, spoken with a smile, but meant to be remembered. Rule 1, no running. Rule 2, no screaming. Rule 3, never ever walk behind a horse. Simple rules, life-saving rules. That morning was the third session for my latest beginner group, all bright-eyed and eager, except one. One little boy, maybe 7 or 8, was a walking storm. From day one, he had no sense of caution, no respect for boundaries. Just endless energy and an attitude that screamed, "You can't tell me what to do." He ran, he yelled, he spooked the ponies. After the first lesson, I pulled his mother aside. She looked like the type who considered herself chill, the kind of parent who calls her kids' bad behavior spirited. I spoke gently but firmly, explained that horses can be unpredictable, that her son needed to listen for his safety and for others. She smiled, nodded, and told me, "Oh, week 2 was worse. He threw a tantrum when I told him to wait his turn. I warned him that if he couldn't listen, he wouldn't get to ride. He screamed, stomped, and she did nothing. She just stood there, arms crossed, giving me that tight smile that said, 'You're the problem, not him.' By week 3, I was dreading the lesson. My stomach was in knots before I even got to the stable. The horses could sense my tension. They always can. They tossed their heads, snorted, shifting restlessly in their stalls. And sure enough, halfway through the lesson, chaos. I turned my back for a split second to help another child mount their pony, and suddenly I heard the pounding of tiny boots, running. I spun around and saw him, bolting, full speed, straight toward the hind legs of a horse. My blood turned to ice. I dropped what I was doing and sprinted after him. Time slowed. I saw that horse's tail twitch, a sign of irritation, a sign it could kick. I lunged forward, grabbed the boy's arm, and yanked him back hard. He screamed, a sharp, high sound that sliced through the air, and then silence. His mother was on me in seconds, her face red, eyes blazing. She grabbed her son, pulling him to her like I was some monster. "Don't you dare touch my child," she spat. My heart was still racing, adrenaline flooding every nerve. "Ma'am," I stammered, "he was about to get hurt. You can't run behind a horse. It could have—" "I don't care," she shouted. "You don't put your hands on my son." That's when my composure cracked. "If he dies in this stable because he scares a horse," I said, my voice trembling but sharp as glass, "that'll be on you." Her face twisted in rage. She yanked her son away, muttering something about lawsuits and unprofessional behavior, and stormed off. I stood there, shaking, surrounded by a dozen wide-eyed parents and kids. I expected backlash, but most of them looked relieved, like someone had finally said what they were all thinking. On Monday, my boss got the call. The woman was livid, demanded her money back, threatened to report me. But my boss had already heard the full story. She stood by me, told her, "You signed the waiver. Your son is a danger to himself and others. He's not welcome back." I thought that was the end of it. For 2 blessed weeks, everything was peaceful. The kids laughed, the ponies were calm, and I started to let my guard down. Then, one morning, we arrived to find the ponies missing. All of them. The gates to the pasture were wide open. Fences trampled. We panicked, sprinted through the property until we found them grazing in the forest edge nearby. They were safe, thank God. We checked the fences, fixed what was broken, and chalked it up to animals. Maybe moose, maybe someone forgot to latch the gate. But something about it felt off. Then came the fire. It was just past midnight when my phone rang. My coworker's voice was shaking. "The pony's shed, it's on fire." I threw on clothes and drove like a maniac through the dark. I could see the orange glow before I even turned the corner. The smell of smoke, the crackle of wood, it hit me like a punch to the chest. The horses were outside, terrified, but alive. If they'd been inside, they would have burned. Someone did this on purpose. We called the police. They said it might be kids. There had been small fires around town lately. We installed cameras, took turns staying overnight at the stables. For a week, nothing happened. Just long, cold nights filled with shadows and the occasional snort from a restless pony. Eventually, we stopped staying. Life crept back toward normal. Until the morning I walked into the stable and froze. There were cuts, fresh, deliberate cuts, along several horses' flanks. Not deep enough to kill, but deep enough to hurt, to send a message. My hands shook as I called the police. My throat was dry when we checked the camera footage. I remember holding my breath as the image came into focus. A figure, slipping through the gate in the dark, moving with purpose. And when the light hit his face, I felt my stomach drop. It was the boy's father. The same man who'd barely said a word that day at the stable. The one who stood silent while his wife screamed at me. He'd come back in the night to hoot innocent animals. For what? Revenge? Pride? They arrested him. The police told us he'd been connected to other fires nearby. Maybe it was all him. Maybe he thought he was defending his family's honor. The horses are healing now. Physically, at least. I still see the fear in their eyes, sometimes when someone new approaches. I can't say I'm much different. Every time I hear a strange noise near the barn, my heart races. Sometimes I walk past the paddock and still smell smoke, even when there's none. It's been months since the arrest, but that night never left me, and neither did the question that keeps echoing in my head. How does a simple boundary, a rule meant to protect, turn into hatred so deep that someone would hurt the innocent just to feel powerful again? When did pride become more important than decency? And what does it say about us when people would rather burn barns than face the truth about themselves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Do subscribe and like to support.